Hey everybody, it's Greg Rice. We're here in East Providence, Rhode Island. We're with the owner of Harmony with Food, and that is Meg Marie O'Rourke.
Thanks for having me.
A nice Italian name.
Yeah, exactly.
Meg and I met a few weeks ago with a good friend of ours, Emilio DeSpirito, and here we are today. So Meg, tell us about your business.
Okay. So I started my own private practice in 2006. But at the same time, I was consulting because I didn't jump right in. I was consulting at some rehab facilities and some nursing homes, but I hated it.
Mm.
So I really realized that the nursing homes and the hospitals were not the place for education and that I needed to do something different. So I started my own practice, and what I did was I worked in the day from say 7 to 3. And then at night, I would go do the practice from 4 to 8, 4 to 9. And then I'd work on Saturdays too. And then as I got more clientele, I started backing off from the consulting. And in 2008, I started my own private practice full time. At that time, I was in Fall River and I had a second office in Portsmouth. But eventually I decided just to get into the central, part of Rhode Island.
Spot.
Yeah, it is a good spot. It's easy to come to, but right now, ever since COVID, I'm doing mostly telemedicine at my house.
Awesome.
So what I do is called medical nutrition therapy. And so I'm a licensed health professional for the state of Rhode Island. And I work with people that are suffering from GI issues or weight loss resistance, like they're going to their doctor or their trainer, and the trainer's saying, oh, well, you just need to exercise more, eat less. But it's not that simple.
Gotcha.
We're in the 21st century, and when it comes to nutrition, there's microbiome testing, there's micronutrient testing, there's sports micronutrient testing, there's food additive testing, food sensitivity testing. So what a lot of people don't realize is that doctors don't really know much about nutrition. And so they might have taken a course, 20 years ago, but things have changed. And so if you are a person who wants to be proactive about your health and you're kind of sick of the system of the insurance companies telling us what to do, what we can do, what we cannot do, and the doctor's hands are tied also. So if you're hitting a brick wall with conventional medicine, you've been scoped every which way you could be by a GI doctor, but you're still suffering with all the things that nobody wants to talk about: constipation, bloating, running to the bathroom, right? It's affecting your work life. It's affecting your ability to play with your children or your grandchildren. You don't want to go to parties because you're afraid the only bathroom is going to be right where everybody's standing. So I work with people that have weight loss resistance issues, GI issues, and the comorbidities of obesity, which could be prediabetes, diabetes. Unfortunately, a lot of people, as you well know, aren't taking very good care of themselves. And a lot of people will wait till they get sick instead of being proactive. And the doctors call preventative medicine things like getting a colonoscopy, getting a mammogram. Maybe you have diabetes and they're going to put you on 3 medications instead of 1 because the trends show you don't have high cholesterol, but the studies show we're going to put you on a statin, a cholesterol lowering medication, just in case. And they consider that preventative, where I consider what I do proactive. So we're doing testing. I say test, don't guess, to help people determine exactly what food, drinks, and supplements they should or should not be consuming based on, could be their nutrigenomics, which is genome testing, their microbiome, food sensitivity. A lot of people don't realize that we have antigens that produce antibodies to certain foods. So when you have an ache on, say, Thursday, it could be from something you ate Monday, but you don't even know it.
Interesting. Let's talk about food in the general public. I was just at Cumberland Farms. One of the only things I'll get at Cumberland Farms is a coffee.
I don't blame you.
They're actually pretty good. So I'm checking out, I'm standing in line, and I'm looking at the available options for me. Okay? All the shelves, the display cases. What do I see? I see nothing but bullshit.
Yep.
I see nothing but sugar
That's what we're up against, right?
and nothing but fluff, right? I see
Yeah.
donuts, I see cookies, I see chips, I see, cookies and just nothing there. And the problem with that is people are reactive, so they walk in, they're hungry. Oh, that looks good.
Exactly.
And they're eating with their eyes, they're not eating with their intelligence. They're like, oh, that looks tasty.
Yep.
So the world, maybe not the world, but I think so, the United States has created a culture of no nutrition, cheap,
Yep.
fast, and readily accessible. And that is a recipe for disaster.
Exactly.
Obesity, health issues. I recently, I would say in the last 5 years, became aware of like, hey, I can't just eat anything. I can't just eat for pleasure. I have to eat for performance. And once you realize that, you really go into a store like that and you're like, get a banana maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
So what I hope maybe folks can take from this is, first of all, awareness. So why don't you riff a little bit on that topic? Talk about food, talk about maybe things people can easily do that will make a big difference and lay the foundation for success.
So I think one of the things that I hear most often is people say, I know what to do, I just need to do it.
Okay.
And when I ask them, do you know how much protein you're supposed to take in? How many grams of protein are you supposed to consume a day? Which more isn't always better. And a lot of people have, over the years, have overdosed on protein powders because it can kill you if you take too much.
Really?
So when you're taking products nilly-willy without a professional because you're listening to the guy at the gym, please be careful because it is a recipe for disaster. There are a lot of people that are on a ton of different supplements because they want to be healthy. They hear one blog, they hear one radio show, they hear another something somewhere else, YouTube, Instagram, right? Social media. And then all of a sudden they're on 20 different supplements, spending $300 a month, and they don't even know which one is or is not working. But that's the supplement part. As far as the food goes, I'll continue on that path where, people say, I know what to do, I just need to do it. And I'll say, how many grams of protein are you supposed to consume for your height and weight and sex? Nobody knows. How carbohydrate?
How many generally?
Well, there's a formula, right?
So roughly speaking, is it a gram a pound?
Yeah, so it's 1.2 grams per kilogram. Okay. So you take a pound, divide that into 2.2, and then multiply that for times 1.2, and that would be someone who goes to the gym like maybe 3 times a week or more. Okay.
So me, I'm about 220 pounds. My nutritionist, Katie Usher, she says, Greg, 160 to 180 is what you need daily, and that's hard for me to hit.
Yeah,
without supplements.
Yeah. That is tough. Do you have a breakdown? Like, do you know how much protein is in things? And
yeah.
Okay, good. So that's what people need to do is get the science in there, get the actual scientific formulas. They're not just, somebody saying something somewhere. This is science. I actually went to school for 6 years, right, for this. And I was actually in the pre-med path, but I didn't want to give out prescription medications, right? And so I knew that I was going to have to take a turn in a different direction. But the courses that you have to take are not easy to become a dietitian. It's, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. I struggled through a lot of them. Biochemistry, organic, inorganic chemistry, microbiology, anatomy and physiology. So the same classes that medical doctors take in med school. And then I just kind of took a switch to a different direction because I knew I didn't want to prescribe. That was just not the road I wanted to go down. I would say that, you have to make sure you're getting this balance of carbohydrate. And there's 3 types of carbohydrate. There's the simple carbohydrate, which are the fruits and vegetables. And some health coaches out there are telling people that fruit has too much sugar in it. And I'm like, that's like saying water is too wet. They're made of monosaccharides, which is a simple sugar, and it actually is good for you because it's not like eating a Snickers bar. So you're getting antioxidants, fiber, and things that help fight disease and cancer. So don't worry about eating fruit. I just try and get that word out there because there's a lot of bloggers saying that right now. Fruit's too high in sugar. You can eat all the vegetables you want. Protein we talked about, right? And then the carbohydrates. There's the simple carbohydrate, the fruits and vegetables, the complex carbohydrate, the bread, the pasta, the rice, the cereal. And then there's the refined carbohydrates, the things we don't need but are out there, like you talked about, cakes, cookies, ice cream, all that stuff.
Right.
We don't need it. We may want it once in a while,
Yep.
but it can be very addictive for some people.
100%.
And I tell people, you have to figure out that part on your own, because for me, I stay away from those kind of foods. A, they're not good for me, and B, they're addictive. And so if I
100%.
have one, I want another. And so I'm like, why don't I just stop having these kinds of addictive foods, and it'll probably make it easier. No different than an alcoholic, right? That can't, some people can, be alcohol abusers or do a little bit too much, but they're not alcoholics. Like
Correct.
they're not ruining their whole life or their family's lives or whatever. Some people cannot have alcohol at all because they're alcoholics, right?
100%.
So I think it's each individualized person's decision to decide how they want to handle it. I'm not saying, oh, Meg, doesn't eat sweets,
Right.
then you
So
don't. No. I'm not the person who just
Right.
quit smoking. You know what I mean? It's telling everybody else to quit smoking now.
I like that. So one thing I don't like is when I am generalized. Okay, so when I see an advertisement with my least favorite slogan of all time is America runs on Dunkin'. I'm an American. I don't run on your shit, your stuff,
right.
So you're putting me under an umbrella of, well, everybody else does, Greg, why don't you? Like almost inversely guilting me to being like, why don't I have Dunkin' Donuts? And if you go to Dunkin' Donuts, again, all I'll get there is the coffee.
Right.
Donuts, croissants, bagels, Krellers, pre-made sandwiches and wraps and
They're
just
awful.
like, it's garbage.
If you look at the actual breakdown, the nutritional breakdown, you would die.
It's
Some of
disgusting.
the bagels have like 500 milligrams of sodium in them. The croissants have like 800 milligrams of sodium just in the croissant. I mean, they're loaded with sugar and preservatives. And again, as you know, in the United States, we allow all these chemicals and food additives and things that are being allowed in the food system. So you have to be your own advocate
100%.
and decide what you're going to allow into your body and what you're not.
And when do people realize it? You said when it's too late, but in your opinion, is it at a certain age range? Is it at a certain point of a life stage? When, because maybe somebody's watching saying like, I don't feel like I hit that point yet. When do you think they hit
I
it?
think a lot of times, especially guys who do a lot of sports and stuff, they get away with it until they have a desk job.
Gotcha.
And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, damn, how did this happen? Well, you may have more responsibilities now, so you can't go to the gym 3 hours every night,
Right.
or whatever you did before. So I think that's one. I would say for women, pop out 2, 3, 4 kids. Your body's never gone back to where it was. It's just not. Be realistic. What weight should you be for, the BMI? I hate the BMI. Do you know what that is? At the
Body
doctor's?
mass index?
Yeah, they'll tell you, like, if you're 6 feet tall, they're
should
going to
be
tell you
this.
to weigh 178. Yeah, they
Gotcha.
put all of us in little boxes. And
Yeah.
it's like, if you have a little bit of curves and you're a woman, they're going to tell you, oh, you're overweight or
moderately
obese.
obese, yeah.
Yeah. And it's such an archaic tool that the American Medical Association is still using, and I have no idea why. It's not a good tool. So people go into the doctor's office and they get their height, their weight, then they go, oh, your BMI is this. Oh, you're obese. See you next time. Matt, why don't you exercise more and eat less?
Right.
And we can go
Next.
so much deeper now. Like, I mean, with the testing and looking at your microbiome, it could be that you don't have, I'm going to use some big words now. There's a lot of research on Akkermansia, which is a microbe in our system, and they find it very low in obese people and higher in people that are lean. So
Interesting.
there are ways you can get that Akkermansia higher through microbiome testing and getting you on the exact pre and probiotics and other things that you may need for your system to increase like the short chain fatty acids, which help us digest and absorb our food. So a lot of people don't even know about, or they may have heard about leaky gut or intestinal permeability. That's another thing, the bad stuff is getting into your system, and the other bad stuff is getting out of your colon into your bloodstream. It could cause aches and pains, headaches, so many different things.
Wow. Leaky gut?
Yeah. You never heard that?
That's an interesting one. We'll put that on the screen. Leaky gut.
The real term is gut dysbiosis.
Okay.
But
leaky gut
our
sounds
intestinal
better.
permeability, whatever you want to use.
Leaky
Semantics,
gut.
yep.
Interesting. There's I'm drawing a blank on the name of it. My ex-wife got me into it. It's called Yakut, Y-A-K-U-T.
Is it an herb?
It's a small little capsule. They sell it at the dairy section in the supermarket. Oh, right here, Yakult.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of this?
I haven't. There's so many different supplements and you can't possibly know them all.
They're like 3 ounces. They're little mini.
Is it a prebiotic probiotic drink?
Correct.
I'll give you a little trick.
It's non-fat. Oh, here you go. Here's some of the.
So I'll tell you what. One of the things you could do to change your microbiome for the better when you're taking kombucha or something like this, you can just take a shot a day. You don't have to drink the whole 3 ounces because some of them could be expensive. So you could buy like 3 different flavors if you could, and then every day take a shot of a different one because the diversity is really good for your system.
And I think people have a problem with quantity also.
Oh, yeah.
If they see that it's only 1 ounce, they'd be like, "Oh, that's not enough. I'm used to getting my great one."
The super duper stuff.
So how do you convey to people that something small like that is effective?
Yeah, so every little bit can help. So if you're doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of, say you were taking foods that are, maybe you were doing some pre or probiotic foods, maybe you're doing some kombucha and then you're adding in some inulin, or, there's a million different things you could be doing. But doing it nilly-willy it's going to take you longer. You're going to spend more money. I don't know about you, but if I need a lawyer, like a divorce lawyer, I would use John La Rochelle, right?
Which I did.
Okay, all right.
We'll put John
He's
up
awesome.
on the screen. I've interviewed
Yeah, he's
John.
awesome. If I have tax issues, I'm going to an accountant. So why are you guessing about what supplements and stuff
In
you
your
should
body.
be taking? Yeah.
Which is the most important thing.
Right.
It's permanent.
Right.
Divorce temporary.
Yeah.
Taxes temporary.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's here is permanent.
Right. I will tell you too, you asked a good question. When do people wake up?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when they get disease.
Gotcha.
So I worked on a cardiovascular unit for where's the cardiac dietitian for anybody who had a heart attack. I had to go in, talk to them about what they need to do, what they need to change. Again, in the hospital, not a good setting for it. But I'll tell you, the people that just had heart attacks are very willing to change.
Right.
Because they're scared to death.
Right.
And then, of course, their wives always come in and, like, if they're married, the wife's like, oh, I've been waiting for you. You got to get here. And I'll be like, cool it.
Yep. Chill.
Calm down. Because if you're going to starve him and put him on, like, a vegan diet,
right.
or you're going to give him 200 calories of food at dinner, the guy's going to be stopping at McDonald's on the way home.
Secretly.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't be the food police. Even I can't be the food police.
Gotcha.